talks through me. A supernatural possession horror story. 1. Strange night speech. It started with a murmur. Jenna had always been a deep sleeper, but recently, her partner, Chris, began noticing something strange. At first, he thought she was just mumbling nonsense like most people do when dreaming. But then the mumbling changed. It became rhythmic, deliberate, as if she were answering questions, having conversations, in a voice that didn't sound quite like hers. "You said something weird last night," Chris said one morning over breakfast. Jenna looked up from her cereal. "Like what?" "You kept repeating, 'Yes, I hear you. Yes, I understand,' over and over. It sounded wrong. Not like you." Jenna laughed it off, assuming it was stress or maybe the cold medicine she'd been taking. But that night, Chris was so disturbed by the tone and structure of her sleep talking that he started recording her on his phone. That night, the voice came back. Not a whisper. Not nonsense. Clear speech. "Don't interrupt me. I need to finish this." Chris bolted upright in bed, chills racing down his spine. Jenna's face was turned away from him, but her body was stiff too still. And that voice, it wasn't hers. It was lower, heavier, like it had weight. Like something else was in the room, speaking through her. 2. The recordings. The next morning, Chris showed her the recording. Jenna sat in stunned silence, watching herself in bed, her mouth barely moving, while a voice calm, emotionless spoke. "I'm almost in control. He's fading. I can feel it." Her hands trembled. "That's not me." "But it came from you," Chris whispered. They spent the day trying to rationalize it. Maybe it was a fluke, an auditory illusion, a stress-induced episode. Jenna even tried convincing herself she might be playing tricks in her sleep. But deep down, she knew better. She began recording herself every night. The next few recordings were quiet until Thursday. This time, it wasn't just speech. It was laughter. Hollow, breathy, echoing with something ancient. Then, suddenly, in the middle of the laughter, "He'll never notice. The body adapts. It always adapts." Jenna screamed and threw the phone across the room. She started to feel like she wasn't alone in her own head. Sometimes, when she spoke, her sentences felt unfamiliar, like they had been written by someone else. She'd catch herself finishing thoughts she hadn't started, laughing at things she didn't find funny. Then the dreams began. 3. The passenger. Jenna dreamed of glass, a massive pane of thick, clear glass. She was behind it, naked, cold, screaming, but no one could hear her. On the other side was her body, but it moved like it belonged to someone else. She watched herself cook, talk to Chris, go to work, all from behind the barrier. She slammed her fists against the glass every night, screaming, crying, begging to wake up. But she never did not until the dream ended on its own, and she'd wake up gasping for air. Soon, the dreams bled into waking life. She'd find herself staring in the mirror too long, feeling like her reflection was watching her, not mimicking her movements, but anticipating them. Sometimes it smiled before she did. Sometimes it didn't smile at all, even when she was laughing. One evening, during a meeting at work, her vision blurred. She blinked. The room shifted. The voices around her were muffled. She looked down at her own hands. They were still, but her body felt distant, like she was just a passenger. When she came to, the meeting was over. Everyone had left. She had notes in front of her, a page full of words she didn't remember writing in handwriting that wasn't hers. At the top of the page, "We're almost there. For the negotiation." She begged Chris to help. "I don't know what's happening to me," she sobbed. "Something's wrong. Something's inside." They set up more cameras, recordings. They even reached out to a sleep disorder specialist, who suggested medication, but nothing stopped the voice. And one night, the recording caught something new. 2 voices. One was hers, tired, broken. "Please stop. I don't want this." The other was deeper, cold, detached. "He won't notice. He never does. This arrangement suits us both." Jenna shook uncontrollably as she listened. Her eyes were hollow, her skin pale. Who's he talking about? Chris. But Chris had already left for the night. They were keeping some space while they figured this out. That meant the voice wasn't referring to him. It was referring to her. The he was the real Jenna, the one screaming from behind the glass in her dreams. Whatever was inside her. It had been negotiating, planning, living beside her until it was ready to push her out completely. And the final phase had begun. 5. Possession complete. The night before everything ended, Jenna dreamed of fire. Her reflection stood in the flames, smiling with her mouth but not her eyes. The reflection reached out, grabbed her hand through the glass, and whispered, "Time's up." She woke up somewhere new. A motel room, dirty curtains, stained carpet, a cracked mirror on the wall. She had no memory of getting there. She checked her phone, no missed calls, no messages. But the front camera was recording. A video had been saved, timestamped just a few hours ago. She pressed play. It showed her sitting in front of the mirror, whispering to it, smiling. But her voice was wrong again. "Thank you for letting me in," it said. She dropped the phone and turned to the mirror. Her reflection looked back, but it didn't blink when she did. It smiled and said, "You can sleep now." Jenna screamed, but only in her mind, because outside the glass her body stood up, calm, composed, and walked away. End of It talks through me. Let the quiet ones speak last.